Coming up on Cardinals Insider.
Let's go, Blue! Let's go, Blue!
They don't say Team STL for nothing. See how the Cardinals are bleeding blue. Plus,
my main responsibility is really to help Mo and Gersh with our Major League team.
Hear from Cardinals Assistant General Manager Moises Rodriguez. And later,
you guys want to play with me?
This Cardinal pitcher hopes to help kids keep learning all summer long. Those stories and more ahead on Cardinals Insider. Welcome to Cardinals Insider. I'm your host, Ozzie Smith. We all know St. Louis has incredible baseball fans, but this city loves hockey too. That's been on full display with the Blues' run to the Stanley Cup Finals. When it comes down to dropped and puck, the Cardinal players are rooting as hard as anyone.
Swing and a shot deep to left field. Get up, baby. Get up, get up, get up, get up.
There's two teams in St. Louis.
Shot by Tarasenko. Score!
But together, it's one nation.
Yachty's kind of my go-between, right? Like, I'm like, hey, Yachty, what do you think about going to the Blues game? And like, hey, yeah, you want to go? Yeah, come on, let's go.
From Enterprise Center to Busch Stadium, Clark Street is buzzing with excitement. Here in St. Louis, our players support their St. Louis teams just as much as the fans.
I know a lot of these fans came straight from the Cardinal game. They came into here.
It's fun to go and watch, cheer somebody else on as just friends rather than, having the uniform on ourselves.
I love this team. I mean, obviously, we want to support the city, we want to support the team, we want to be there for the team.
Let's go, Blue! Let's go!
To see them on the Jumbotron every night, it means the world to the players, and we're excited for the challenge, another challenge ahead of us. And we've been a team that's been down and out. It reminds me of the St. Louis Cardinals in 2011 when they were in last place, and just like us. So it's just everything's coming back full circle for the city, and the city's going nuts, and we're all excited, and it's cool to just all come together as a team, I would call it.
And where did the Blues decide to spend their day the day after they became Western Conference champs? At the ballpark.
Let's go!
We try to get to the ballpark as much as we can, and to see guys like that at our games, it means a lot, and it just shows the support of the whole city. And the city's a sports town, so they love their hockey, they love their baseball, and we just love the support from the Cardinals.
It was a long day of baseball for them. They stayed and watched both games, a lot of those guys, and so it was special to us.
I get to know more of the guys, Pat Maroon. I haven't met him before. Nice guy. Just a humble guy. I'm happy for that time.
We've got the Blues game on at all times. Whether we're home or a road, we found a way to get that thing on in the clubhouse. We've been watching every game, so it's one big family here in St. Louis. We're all rooting for each other.
From baseball to hockey, it's one nation here in St. Louis. For Cardinals Insider, I'm Emily Stevens.
Straight ahead on Cardinals Insider.
Every time we make a player transaction, there's a chain of events that takes place.
A conversation with Assistant General Manager Moises Rodriguez. Also coming up,
1, 2, 3.
how these students got a chance to meet pitcher John Brebbia. Moises Rodriguez has been the Assistant General Manager since September of 2017. Before that, he was the club's International Director, and he began his career in Major League Baseball's office. Our Brett McMillan sat down with Moises to talk about his career and role in the organization.
Welcome in, Brett McMillan with Moises Rodriguez, Assistant General Manager with the St. Louis Cardinals. Moises, thanks for your time today. Excited to have you.
Thanks, bro. Thanks for having me.
Well, let's start out with this, because for a lot of fans, they might not know, as Assistant GM, you've held that job since the fall of 17. What does that entail?
Well, I work across different departments, but my main responsibility is really to help Mo and Gersh with our Major League team. That includes engaging other assistant GMs in trade conversations, reaching out to them to see what interest they may have in some of our players or some interest that we may have in their players, contributing to player acquisition, conversations, ideas on how we can improve our ball club, a lot of internal debate when that occurs. Contract negotiations, mostly the pre-arbitration, arbitration eligible players that we control. I'll negotiate one of those with agents and player moves. Every time we make a player transaction, there's a chain of events that takes place, whether that's filing the transaction with the league office or communicating with people internally or when players are going to arrive at Memphis if you send a player down.
It's a job a lot of people would love to have. Is it the kind of job you grew up wanting? Did you want to work in a front office?
Well, I grew up very passionate about sports in general, and I gravitated toward baseball and really got into the nuances of baseball and following strategy, and I did fantasy and knew every lineup of every major league organization. I fell in love with it, and from early on I knew I wanted to do something in sports. Little by little I started gravitating toward baseball, and yes, I'm very fortunate to hold this position and something that I grew up loving.
You were the international director for the Cardinals before you stepped into your current role. What did that role entail, and kind of how does that prepare you for what you do today?
Well, overseeing the international operations department took a lot of juggling. We basically focus on evaluating international players, amateur, younger players across the world, mostly in Latin America. I oversaw our player development facility in the Dominican Republic, where when we sign players, that's where they first get introduced to professional baseball, and it's basically step one of their player development process, and from there they graduate onto the U.S. and hopefully keep progressing. So between scouting and having an eye on our player development facility down in the Dominican Republic, it kept me busy.
You see a guy from the time you identify him or that the staff identifies him, and a lot of the time you see him here to the field at Busch Stadium. What's your favorite part of that process, just seeing a guy mature, maybe even from 16 years old to becoming a big league baseball player?
Well, it's a long road to the big leagues. We talk about signing players at 16 years old and then getting here to Busch Stadium in their early to mid-20s. That's a long path, but the gratifying part is signing them with natural ability and supporting their development, helping them progress, and if they're fortunate enough to make it to the big leagues and reach Busch Stadium, that's the ultimate gratification, is seeing that path taken and reached.
Moises, thank you for your time. Appreciate it. Moises Rodriguez, Assistant GM with the St. Louis Cardinals.
Straight ahead.
Let me get a few rally towels if you can hear me.
John Brebbia goes back to class. Plus,
it's something completely different to what I'm used to growing up in England.
This British baseball fan came a long way to Busch Stadium. Hear about his incredible travel goals when we return. Have you listened to the Cardinals Insider Podcast yet? Each week, the show welcomes players, executives, and alumni. Plus, hear audio from the Cardinals radio archives. Take Cardinal baseball with you on the Cardinals Insider Podcast. Listen or subscribe wherever you get your podcast or at cardinals.com/podcast. Summer Slugger helps keep kids' minds sharp over the summer break. The program combines learning with fun baseball-themed games. This year, some lucky St. Louis area kids even got to meet Cardinals reliever John Brebbia. Take a look.
Can you guys hear me over there? Let me get a few rally towels if you can hear me. Yeah, 1, 2, oh yeah, we're moving now. All right, what's up, guys? How's everyone doing?
The Cardinals have been a fantastic partner of ours, bringing Summer Slugger into schools throughout the St. Louis area. Summer Slugger is a baseball-themed math and literacy course designed to help rising 5th grade students practice the skills that they need to be successful once they get back to school in the fall.
Fun. You guys want to play with me? Alrighty, let's do it. Let's do it. So,
John had the awesome opportunity to live stream with 6 of our classrooms across the St. Louis area. John played some Summer Slugger games with the students to get them familiar with the types of courses that they'll be interacting with over the summer. He also gave them a chance to ask questions about his career, about practicing, about hard work.
Okay, yeah, right there, right there. You guys got any questions, or do you just want to know how old I was? All right, cool. Yeah, well, I'm 80. So I hope that answers everything, or 85 or whatever I said. Does that work for you guys? No? What do you mean no?
It brings a whole nother level of excitement to learning, and especially summer learning, having the Cardinals involved. The Cardinals are really the stewards of summer's greatest game in the St. Louis area, so it's so important to have those role models in the St. Louis area telling these kids that they need to work hard over the summer to achieve their goals.
All right, on 3, we're going to say go Cardinals. Does that work? 1, 2, 3. Take a bunch here. Boom, boom, boom. All right, awesome.
Could you watch 162 baseball games in a season? That's what British citizen Joey Mellows is trying to do. On Twitter, he's known as the Baseball Brit, and he put out his life savings to come to the States and take in baseball from coast to coast. We caught up with him when he rolled through St. Louis.
So the plan is to watch 162 games of professional baseball.
First dugout.
Hello, what's happening? Every day I go to a baseball game and I travel and I drive and I experience all these different people and places and cultures. It's something completely different to what I'm used to growing up in England. My father was a professional soccer player. I played soccer all the time growing up with my friends. It's very frenetic and fast-paced and intense, tribal almost in terms of the fan bases. And I went and saw my first game in Japan, and it was just so much slower, and I could talk and think and reflect and enjoy.
There's a game in about 25-30 minutes, and I'm just sat in the Cardinals dugout.
This is my first ever Major League Baseball doubleheader, so I'm super excited to be out in the sun, getting sunburnt all day today. And I'll be eating some toasted ravioli and then heading back to the museum, I hope, to learn a bit more about the Cardinals in between the 2 games. Favourite Cardinals players, historically Bob Gibson. These days, I guess, Colton Wong, he steals bases, I like that. The plan is hopefully to write a book about this adventure, about all the people I've met, and that's what I'll be doing in the off-season.
It's time for this week's trivia question. One of the Cardinals' World Series victories came over the St. Louis Browns. In what year did the 2 teams meet in the Fall Classic? Was it 1942, 1943, 1944, or 1945? The answer when we return. We're back with the answer to this week's trivia question. We asked in what year the Cardinals and the Browns met in the World Series. The answer is 1944. It's the 75th anniversary of the All-St. Louis Series, which the Cardinals won in 6 games, and all 6 were played at Sportsman's Park. For the next 3 weeks, we'll be taking a look at this special time in the city's history. We begin with an overview of the Cardinals team from that year.
In hindsight, some fans consider the Cardinals the underdog of the '44 World Series, but let's be clear, the Cardinals ran away with the National League pennant in 1944. They'd won over 100 games that season, and it was their 3rd consecutive season of 100 wins. The Cardinals did pull away, winning the series in 6 games, of course 4 games to 2.
It's a proud and happy bunch of Cardinals who troop into their clubhouse. It's their 5th World Championship, a new National League record.
The Cardinals still had their long list of sluggers in the lineup. Of course, the MVP that year was Marty Marion at shortstop. Let's not forget Stan Musial doing his thing as an outfielder at this point. Whitey Kurowski would have been at 3rd base for the Cardinals, and Mort Cooper and Max Lanier, as kind of key pitchers for the Cardinals there.
Billy Southworth counters with his southpaw, Max Lanier, aiming for the Cards' 5th World Championship.
The Cardinals, unfortunately for the Browns, just proved to be too much. And this team that had won 100 games in 3 consecutive seasons and, of course, 3 consecutive World Series appearances were just too much for the Browns.
Coming up next.
Busch Stadium sells more nachos by far than any other ballpark in the country.
Have nachos become Busch Stadium's signature ballpark favorite? Let's take a look back at this moment in Cardinals history.
He has now. See you later. Way out of here. 4-2 Cardinals.
Bob, I think that cleared the entire Dodger bullpen. One of the longest home runs I've ever seen hit here.
With the bases loaded. And a drive to left center. Is it another one? Yes! 2 grand slams in 1 inning. Cardinals lead 11-2, and Fernando's driven in 8 of them.
Nachos. St. Louis loves them. In fact, if you've been to a Cardinals game this year, you've probably had an order. Busch Stadium is among the league leaders in nachos sold, and there's a lot of ways that you can order them.
Buy me some peanuts and Cracker Jacks. Actually, I'll take the nachos. Nachos of any type are the most sold and popular food at the ballpark.
Busch Stadium sells more nachos by far than any other ballpark in the country. And why not? Nachos is God's favorite food, and this is baseball heaven.
Last year alone, Busch Stadium went through 179,000 pounds of chips and 265,000 pounds of nacho cheese.
If you come to Busch Stadium, you will definitely find your nacho heaven.
From barbecue to forehands to tater tots, there are plenty to choose from to satisfy your nacho appetite.
We have your regular nachos where you get your nacho cheese and jalapenos. We have a nacho supreme, which comes with nacho beef, jalapenos, it comes with salsa.
If you're really hungry, get a helmet full. Whether it's pork, chicken, or beef, you can customize your nachos down to the meat.
The first one is the four-hand nacho. It will have either your choice of nacho beef, pulled pork, or chicken, and it comes with a special cojito cheese and a white queso cheese.
Chef calls them forehands because they're great for 2 people and they come in a home plate box.
But we've also made a separate version of the four-hand nacho, which includes tater tots. We call it the ultimate stadium tot. It is a nacho made out of tater tots that you can also top with your nacho cheese, your pulled pork, and your beef.
If you like your nachos a certain way like I do, you can do it yourself at Alberto's.
Our newest nacho is our Country Bars Barbecue Nacho. Now that's a nacho with pulled pork, Country Bars barbecue sauce, queso cheese, jalapenos, and banana peppers. That is by far the newest and my personal favorite nacho in the building.
Step aside, peanuts and hot dogs. It's Nacho Place, because Busch Stadium is nacho heaven. For Cardinals Insider, I'm Ben Holtmeyer.
The Cardinals and Missouri Farm Bureau Insurance are partnering together to fight hunger. It's been anchored by the food drive at Busch Stadium called Home Runs Against Hunger.
All right, thank you so very much.
Today, we are teaming up with the St. Louis Area Food Bank for our Home Run Against Hunger Grand Finale Food Drive. This is our 4th year we've done this, and essentially what we're doing is we're collecting monetary and non-perishable donations. And in exchange, we're offering them 2 free tickets to an upcoming Cardinals game.
It's a real fun atmosphere. You see a lot of fans that aren't even going to the games that'll swing up and drop stuff off and come say hi, and a lot of fans that aren't even in it for the tickets. They're just here to help out the community and really help make a donation here for the city.
This is our 4th year, and actually leading up to this event, we host a statewide food drive, also part of the Home Run Against Hunger.
It starts at their locations out in April, and they do it at all their branches across the state and all the different communities, and this is kind of the culmination of the food drive campaign that they've been doing, the Home Run Against Hunger, and we finish it up here at Busch Stadium with all the Cardinals fans having their chance to donate and help the community.
So far this year, we've already raised nearly $13,000 and 8 tons of food. It's a very successful event for us, and we're able to help feed a lot of families. We look forward to doing it every year.
Fox Sports Midwest is proud to support the Cardinals' Ted Savage RBI Golf Classic, hosted by Cardinals manager Mike Schilt. Held Monday, June 24th at Norwood Hills Country Club. This unique experience will pair foursomes with a Cardinals celebrity, including current players, coaches, alumni, and broadcasters. Enjoy post-golf cocktails and hors d'oeuvres featuring a question and answer session with Mike Schilt. For additional information, visit cardinals.com/RBI Golf.
This episode is coming to a close, but we're always online at cardinals.com/insider. Plus, our YouTube page houses all of our content, including individual stories and past episodes. Yadier and Wanda Molina's Fundación Cuatro helps kids with cancer and aids hurricane relief in Puerto Rico. One of the foundation's biggest fundraisers is the yearly Flavors of Puerto Rico. We leave you with the sights and sounds of the event, and we'll see you next week.
We can do this without your help. She's saying, everyone. Send my teammates. How are you? Thank you for showing up.
Foundation 4, we've been doing this to raise funds for the people down in Puerto Rico. It's been good. I mean, it's been great time, great event, great music, great food. I'm happy for that.
So this is the second year that we do Flavors of Puerto Rico, and we like to bring a piece of our culture and our flavors from Puerto Rico here to the U.S. Here in St. Louis, we're trying to reach out to Hispanic communities so we can help out too here.
Enjoy, have fun. The auction is coming. Please. Thank you.